These are the tools that I'm going to be talking about in this video. Over here on the left, I've got the 12-inch, 6-inch, and then a trowel. Those are the three tools that I'm using all the time. Those are the tools you need to do your taping jobs. Over here is a pan and a hawk. These are two tools that you are most likely not going to need. So in other words, if I'm going to recommend tools that you would buy for this type of smaller repair, these are the three I would definitely purchase.
Hey, I'm Myron Ferguson, that drywall guy. Today is like a perfect homeowner do-it-yourself type job that I have here. The homeowner has decided to close in an open stairway, so he hung some drywall. And this is something that the homeowner is absolutely going to try to do themselves. They've already hung it, now they want to start taping it. I'm going to talk a little bit about what tools you're going to need and what tools you're not going to need. It's interesting because this is a job that the homeowner's already started. He's hung it, he actually is taping in the other room, and now I'm here to finish it up. So I've discovered the tools that he owns, the tools that he uses. And these are basically the tools right here. He has a sander, a little hand sanding tool, sanding sponge. But I think these three items are his main taping tools. We have a 6-inch taping knife and a 10-inch taping knife, and then he has a pan. This might be what a lot of homeowners would purchase to do this work with, but these are actually not the tools, or at least most of these are not the tools that I'm going to use for this. So I'm going to show you what I use, and then I'm going to also explain to you what you don't need. It's funny because I've been doing drywall work for 42 years. And one of the things that got me excited about getting into the business was I could get into the drywall business and not spend a lot of money. Basically, I could buy these three tools right here and tape any house you throw at me. When I first was in business for probably the first 10 years, these are the three tools that I use exclusively for all my taping. This is a 6-inch taping knife. It's a high quality 6-inch taping knife. It's not a $5 one. It's probably a $25 knife. It happens to be stainless steel. It doesn't have to be, but I do like the stainless steel because I think they last a little longer. So a 6-inch taping knife is a must. The other tool that I use all the time is a 14 by 4.5-inch curved trowel. By curve, I mean it's concave. In other words, this edge and this edge are lifted off, so there's a slight belly in it. This is probably raised off, a 16th or 1/8 of an inch off the surface. This is a 14-inch trowel. They sell a lot of the 12-inch trowels, but I find 14 is going to be a better all-around tool for you. You're going to get better results with it. And here again, it's quite an expensive trowel. I don't even know how much it costs, but it's up there. The other tool that I use is a 12-inch taping knife. The homeowner here had a 10-inch taping knife. That's a little bit too small for me. So a 12-inch taping knife. This also happens to be stainless steel. These wider taping knives are adjustable. You can actually see that I have a slight crown in it, which you create by bending the edges of the knife. This is like aluminum that is bent to create either a flat surface or a crown surface. The crown edge, in other words, the convex side, is the side that always goes against the compound. So this is my working edge. This is the edge where I probably would end up putting my fingers on. The working edge is the convex side. So those are the three tools that you need to tape any house that you give me. I can completely tape that entire building with just those tools. Now, a couple of tools that you don't need to purchase, particularly for a smaller job like this, you really don't need a pan because this is for holding the compound. And I do use a pan quite often because I'm working with thinner compounds. For something like we're doing here, we're not using thinner compounds, so we don't need a pan. What I hold my compound on is the trowel. This takes the place of the pan. And I'm going to show you how easy that is to use for that. A lot of people like to have a hawk. This is called a hawk. It's probably 12 inches by 12 inches square. This would be what you would put your compound on, and then you would take it off with your taping knife or the wider taping knife as well and do your work with. But you don't need this. Only thing this is for is holding the joint compound that you need to do your work with. And like I said, I'm using the trowel for that purpose. So these are the 3 tools you're going to need. So if you're out there purchasing something, this is what you're going to want to buy. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up a fresh bucket of joint compound. And because I'm hand taping, and I'm just using my 6-inch and 12-inch knife with my trowel, I'm probably not going to add any water to it. One thing I always do is I always mix it, because see how stiff that is? You know, it's pretty thick. And it's a lot more difficult to remove out of that bucket when it's of that consistency, but I don't think I'll need to add any water. Just mixing it usually loosens it up really well. So let's give it a quick mix. Yeah, that's a lot looser, and I think it's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not going to add any water. I always do mix my compound. That doesn't mean that if you're mixing your compound, you need to go out and buy a specialized tool like this. Just an attachment that goes in a regular 1/2-inch drill is all you really need. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I use this trowel to hold my joint compound. Once again, this is compounds that I've just stirred, haven't added any water. This is a consistency that I really like. If you're just starting out taping, you may not put that much compound on. Just put that much on. But as you get better, you can really load this up and work with it. Now, so this takes the place of a pan, takes the place of a hawk. But how do you get the compound off of this and onto this taping knife? If I go like this, what I do, because it works a little better for me, is I slip the knife, the 6-inch knife, under the compound, and then I twist it and I cut it off, as opposed to trying to get it off like this. That's a little messier, and I don't have this edge of the knife clean. When I do this, see how it's not perfectly clean? Watch. When I cut it underneath, flip it over, I get a nice clean edge. And that's what I want. So that's something you can practice. If you're new at this, just put a small amount on there, take your knife, slide it underneath, twist it, and cut it off. Slide it underneath, twist it, and cut it off. Underneath, twist it, and cut it off. That's how you use a taping knife in your trowel. First thing I'm going to show you is how to coat over mesh tape. The tape is already on over the seam, so I just take some compound, just a small amount on my knife, and I just pull it across the seam. Now I put plenty of compound on there, and now I'm going to try to smooth that out. And this is why I like using this trowel instead of a hawk or a pan, because I can use the trowel to smooth out this compound. So I've got it on there. Now I simply pull the trowel right across that seam, and it smooths it right out. So this is not a hawk, it's a trowel, and it works perfectly for that type of application. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I've got plenty of compound on there. That's step one, making sure you have enough joint compound on there. Now, I think I'm going to do all the work with this 12-inch knife. And once again, remember, I'm working with the convex side of the tool. That's my working edge. So I'm just going to scrape off any little chunks that I have on there. And now I'm just going to apply a light pressure because I don't want to remove much compound. I'm trying to smooth and blend. When I do that, I keep the taping knife pretty flat. See how flat I'm keeping it? But I'm applying quite a bit of pressure to that. I'm applying a lot of pressure, but I'm keeping it flat because I'm not really trying to remove compound. Keep blending just by pulling this knife taping knife across the surface. Keep in mind, this is not the finished coat. This is what I call the fill coat. Get across. When I go to smooth, I never start in the middle of the joint compound. I always start right on the ends or off the surface. Like say I got a spot right here that I don't really like. I'm gonna just start right at the bottom and just pull right across it and then pull right off of the joint compound. I still got a little dent, so I applied a little compound. I'm just gonna smooth it out. And I'm pretty happy with that. I've got the edges feathered out. I have some tool marks, but not a lot. And I can see, because I'm looking right down across it, I can see I don't have an obvious bump. It's pretty darn flat. You can see by looking at that, I have some tool marks. Edges are feathered in. The center, there's no obvious bump. So that's why these are the 3 tools you need. This holds the compound and smooths it. This applies it and smooths it. Same with this tool. These 3 tools you can tape any project with.